What's up, guys? Tyler here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel, and today we're going to have a lot to talk about after Week 0 concluded last night with Hawaii and Delaware State. Hawaii didn't really look too good. Ended up winning, I believe, 35-14, but how about the Georgia Tech Florida State game? A lot of people on Twitter trolling Florida State fans for how that game went. Georgia Tech pulled an upset out in Ireland. And then there are some other pretty good games too. Another big one, I'd say, SMU Nevada. We'll talk more about that. But man, what a way to start out the season. And let's get straight into the video. Things first, we are so back. College football is finally back here. And let's talk about Joe Tessitore. I mean, what a game he called. I personally think he's, and this is opinionated, but I think he's the top 3, maybe 4 play-by-play announcer in all of college sports. Just wow, what a game he had. But pretty much every game yesterday was really, really good. I was sitting down on my couch from noon to around 10:30, 11 p.m. watching nothing but college football there, as we had 3 amazing games back to back to back. But yeah, Joe Tessitore had a really nice game. SMU, they were able to survive a huge scare late, very late into that game. And then Montana State, 12-point road favorites, by the way, on the road at New Mexico. They were down 31-14, and to be honest with you, they dominated that game. They had over 370 rushing yards. An FCS school doing that to an FBS school, that is insane. Just regardless, in any level, that's ridiculous. 370 yards rushing. They were able to come back and win, but we are so back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness, college football is finally upon us. SMU, they were able to bounce back late into that game in Reno. First things first, though, I still can't believe Power 4 teams are scheduling road games in the Mountain West. There's so many weird things happen, especially in Reno. Last year, didn't Kansas almost lose to Nevada or something crazy like that in Reno? It's just, I know Purdue lost a game in Reno. You got to go. Just like it's just weird situations. Wyoming won a game last year at home against Texas Tech, kind of just destroyed Texas Tech's season. It's just weird how that all transpires. I can't believe teams are still doing it. But SMU, man, that game was just flukish. It was weird. A lot of crazy things happen. Nevada's DBs, give them a lot of credit, in their defense as a whole. They played exceptionally well for 3 quarters. And then there was another point in time in which Nevada had the ball for 30 minutes compared to SMU's 10 heading into that 4th quarter. It was just crazy how that whole game transpired. SMU came on late, won the game. How about Preston Stone to RJ Maryland? That is going to be one of the better quarterback tight end duos in all of college football. But SMU got the win. If you look at their schedule, I had SMU going 8-4 or 9-3. A lot of people, for whatever reason, just don't like SMU and think they're going to struggle this year. Well, you may have got your wish for Week 0, but heading forward, they got some big games. They also play Florida State at home. That's probably their biggest game as of right now, although, well, Florida State just lost. We'll talk about them here in a second. But, yeah, I still think SMU is going to be a very good ACC team. Their offense came on late. Better late than never, am I right? But that whole situation and game was flukish. The rain, the weather, weird things were happening. But SMU did get the win. That's all that matters. Good teams find ways to win. Doesn't matter who you play against. If you win, you win. But the big one, Georgia Tech takes down number 10 Florida State in Dublin. And this is the second year in a row where the top-ranked preseason poll ACC team loses their first game. Now, last year, Duke beat Clemson in a situation where that was a fluke. I'm just going to be completely honest. This one wasn't so much. Now, Florida State pretty much looked like the better team in the first quarter, but then on, Brent Keys, give him a lot of respect. Georgia Tech looked like the better team from the second quarter on, and really since that fourth down stop. They run a cover zero, and I thought DJ made the right read, throwing it out towards Rondale Williams. It's a one-on-one situation, and I forget who made the tackle. I think it was Harvey, but yeah, he just made the play on the ball, and then from then on, Georgia Tech's offensive and defensive line just completely dominated Florida State, which was the big shock as Florida State came in with so much talent, so much more talent than Georgia Tech. But that offensive line was just bad. I mean, they were just outmatched. Georgia Tech had over 200 yards rushing on Florida State and gave up, I believe, around 90 to 100. Now, here's the thing with Georgia Tech. I loved how they schemed up some of these plays, but there were instances where they got a little bit too cute with those two dumb fumbles. Those should just not have happened. So if you just look at if you take those two negative plays off the board, they were averaging like 6.5 yards per carry. But defensive line, Patrick Payton and Marvin Jones, they just kind of disappointed. And those were probably Florida State's two best defensive linemen. They were just pushed around. But how about a game from Amari Harvey? I thought he played really well. But how about Kyle Eifert for Georgia Tech? He looks like he's going to be one of the best linebackers in all of college football. I mean, what a game he had. Let's just be real here. Georgia Tech was the better team. And I think Florida State fans can agree. I'm not saying they have the better roster, because they don't. However, Georgia Tech was they were better coached. They were well prepared. They were just the better team. The better team won in Dublin. Came down to a last-second field goal. To be honest with you, I don't really think it should have came down to that. Now, possession was just even. Now, here's the thing. Florida State dominated time of possession in the first 1.5 quarters, and then Georgia Tech pretty much took it there on. But both these teams weren't heavy-hitting, deep ball, trying to get you burning deep like I think a lot of people thought they would be. Both of these teams were trying to keep this game in space, and I thought Georgia Tech did an exceptional job at that, where you were seeing a lot of stretch plays, screen passes towards the open field, and then when it mattered most, the quarterbacks, Haynes King and DJ, even in the fourth quarter, they were both making throws. Now, a lot of people are throwing DJ under the bus. Listen, his offensive line played really, really bad, and so did his defensive line, but neither quarterback turned the ball over. So I think for me, instead of just throwing DJ under the bus, I think it was mainly that offensive and defensive line for Florida State that just has a lot of issues. They have some bright spot. They are very deep at running back. Roydell Williams, Lawrence Talafili, and Jalen Lucas. Florida State needs to design more plays for those two, specifically Talafili and Lucas. Both of them are extremely talented. And then, but they need to fix that offensive line in that front seven. They just got outmatched. I mean, like I said, if you take away those two fumbles for Georgia Tech, they had over 200 yards rushing. They were averaging 6 yards per carry. They were just pushing you around. And then after the first quarter, really, Florida State couldn't run the ball because they were just getting pushed around. And like I said, a lot of credit goes to that Georgia Tech front seven, and especially Eifert. I'm telling you, did you see the checks he was making at the line for his defensive line? And, oh, man, I just loved what I saw from Eifert. But, yeah, for Florida State, man, just a major letdown. And if you look at their schedule is not easy. Coming forward here, they play Boston College. That should be a winnable game. We thought Georgia Tech was a winnable game, for real. But then later on, you play Memphis at home, at SMU. You still play Clemson. You got Florida down the road, at Notre Dame. This schedule's starting to bite back here on Florida State. They're going to have to fix a lot of their offensive and defensive issues. But wow, what a win for Georgia Tech. Like I said, they were just a better team yesterday. And what an amazing game that was. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying DJ played an amazing game. He didn't really play a good game, but he also didn't really have a bad game, especially in that fourth quarter. He came up pretty much clutch, giving them a touchdown. It's just their offense and defensive line, I thought, let them down a little bit more. But now our last point, the ACC is wide open. With Florida State going down the way they went down, Georgia Tech now becomes a contender, but Florida State is certainly not out of it yet. I mean, if they can go on a run here and win some of their if they can get to 6-2. I personally think 6-2 is probably going to get you into the ACC championship based upon your tiebreak. In my opinion, I see a lot of 6-2 ACC teams like Clemson, Miami, maybe even SMU and even Florida State if Florida State can get things figured out there. But yeah, it opens up some, even Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech and NC State, if you just base it upon schedule, you can throw Miami in there as well. Those three teams probably have the best schedule to get there. Clemson, obviously Clemson now becomes the favorite, I guess. Them and Miami. But we have yet to see them play. But yeah, wow, the ACC is now wide open. With Florida State going down. Again, the way they went down, that's an emotional loss. We'll see how Florida State can respond. They do play on Monday night on Labor Day against Boston College, who, they have a new coaching staff, and I do like Thomas Castellanos out at quarterback for Boston College. They might have some good defensive players there too. But Clemson plays Georgia. I'm a Georgia fan. I think that game's going to be much closer than what people think. I know I upset Georgia fans when I say that. I don't think Georgia's just going to, go into Atlanta and beat the heck out of Clemson. I mean, they could, but I think that's going to be a very good game. I also think Miami, Florida is going to be an amazing game I think the Canes are actually going to beat Florida. That's my pick there. But yeah, with Florida State falling, it opens the door for a lot of these other teams. But man, what a way to start college football. A lot of people are laughing at Florida State. That was really the biggest game. But yeah, guys, we're back with college football. We're back here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel. I'll be back with some more videos coming up soon. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.